We're talking about one coin that could actually make your day. The 2017 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar. Hold onto your wallets, because this little beauty is worth a whopping $91,000. Yes, you heard that right, $91K. Stick around because we're diving into how this coin became such a hot commodity and how you might just have one sitting in your pocket right now. Spoiler alert, you might need to go check your spare change immediately. Alright, let's break it down. First, let's talk about this elusive 2017 P Mint Mark Washington quarter. You know how every year the US Mint releases new coins, right? Well, in 2017, the Mint made a pretty big deal out of it. They stamped the first ever P Mint mark on a quarter for circulation. Yes, P as in Philadelphia. It's the first time in history they put the P Mint mark on a quarter, and people lost their minds. Now, here's the kicker. Most of the 2017 P quarters aren't worth a ton. I mean, it's a regular quarter. You're probably not going to see it on Antiques Roadshow anytime soon unless it's in mint condition. But here's where things get juicy. There are a rare few that have some serious collector value. So, what makes this particular 2017 P Mint quarter so special? It all comes down to something called die error. When the coin was being produced, there were some quarters that went through the press with some defects, like extra metal or certain design features that weren't supposed to be there. These are the ones you want to find. They're so rare that people are actually willing to pay up to $91,000 for one. Quick side note here. I remember the first time I found a rare coin in my own change. I was at a coffee shop and spotted an older coin in my tip jar. Thought it was just some dusty old quarter. Nope. Turns out it was a 1950 Washington quarter in good condition. I sold it for a few $100. I still have it framed, right next to my best coffee ever mug. So, I get the excitement of finding something valuable in your change. Now, back to the 2017 P Mint quarter. You're probably wondering, how do I find one? Well, like I said, these quarters with die errors are super rare. If you do manage to find one, you're going to want to get it graded by a professional coin grader to confirm its authenticity and value. You know, the kind of person who uses a magnifying glass like their Sherlock Holmes. So, what should you be looking for in the 2017 P quarter? The key errors to watch for are things like a double die, where the image on the coin is blurry because of misalignment in the stamping process. A mint mark that's in the wrong spot or poorly struck, which makes it stand out. Some extreme clashes, where the design from one coin overlaps with the design of another during the minting process. These are the ones that can fetch you some serious cash. But don't expect to find one every time you check your loose change. It's like winning the lottery, but hey, someone's got to win, right? Okay, so let's wrap this up. If you find a 2017 P Mint Washington quarter in your pocket or in your spare change, you're going to want to check it out thoroughly. Does it have any weird marks or errors? If so, it could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, seriously. Of course, most of us won't be that lucky, but knowing what to look for can definitely help when you're out there coin hunting. And before I let you go, here's my call to action. If you want more tips and tricks on how to find hidden gems like the 2017 P Mint quarter, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on a coin worth money. I'm always here sharing stories, tips, and the occasional embarrassing oops, I almost sold a rare coin for $1 moment. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We're diving into the 2016 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar that could be worth, wait for it, $91K. I know, sounds too good to be true, right? But stick around. I'm about to break it down for you and explain exactly how this little coin went from being just pocket change to a potential jackpot. Spoiler alert. It involves a pretty crazy mistake by the US Mint, and believe me, you don't want to miss it. So, first off, let's get one thing straight. The 2016 P Mint Mark Washington quarter is a special coin. You're probably thinking, isn't that just like every other quarter? Well, yeah, kinda, except this one is part of a series of coins released to honor the National Park Service's centennial. Now, you'd think these coins would just be more of the same, but here's where it gets interesting. See, in 2016, the US Mint decided to mark the first time ever that quarters were minted with a P Mint mark for Philadelphia. Prior to this, all quarters, regardless of their year, were minted in other locations like Denver and San Francisco, but Philadelphia always got the short end of the stick. The problem is, this minting of the 2016 P quarter came with an issue, a pretty serious one, at least in the world of numismatics. And I bet you can guess what happened next. Because of a printing error? I know. Who doesn't love a good mistake? Some of these coins got out into circulation in 2016 without any major public notice. Now, hold on. Before you go flipping your couch cushions to find one, let me tell you that this mistake wasn't just any mistake. It turned these regular, mass-produced quarters into a rarity. And when I say rarity, I mean if you happen to find one that's in great condition, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $91,000. No joke. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, right, buddy. You're pulling my leg. But I swear, this is the real deal. There have been confirmed sales of this coin for a jaw-dropping amount in the collector's market. It's like the lottery, but for coin nerds. You're sitting there thinking you've just got some change in your pocket, but it could be an investment that'll make you richer than the Monopoly guy. Think about it, you could finally tell your friends that you found treasure without getting a weird look. Okay, so let's say you do find one. How can you tell if you've got the real deal? Here's the thing. It's not like these coins are glowing in the dark or have some magical markings. You'll want to look at the mint mark. If it's a P, that's your first clue. But then, condition is everything. The more pristine the coin, the higher its value. Coins that are in mint condition, no scratches, no wear, no tears, will fetch the highest price. Think of it like finding a rare Pokemon but in coin form. And by the way, I actually had a hilarious experience trying to track one of these down for myself. So, back in 2016, I heard all the buzz about these coins being worth a small fortune. Naturally, I started scouring my change jar like a maniac. I'm literally pulling out quarters from 2015, 2017, any quarter that could possibly be the one. I even asked my grandmother if she had any 2016 quarters in her purse, and she gave me that look like I was trying to sell her a fake Rolex. Long story short, I didn't find one, but hey, it was worth the fun of the hunt. Alright, so here's the bottom line. If you've got a 2016 P Mint Mark Washington quarter lying around, don't just toss it in the back of your drawer like it's just another coin. Check it out. Hold on to it. Maybe even consider getting it graded by a professional to see if it's worth something closer to that sweet $91,000 mark. And remember, folks, the world of coins can be weird, wonderful, and full of surprises. Who knows what other treasures are just waiting to be found? If you want more tips, tricks, and hilarious stories about coins that are worth way more than you think, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more exciting content on the way, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. We're diving deep into the 2015 D Washington quarter dollar and why it's worth far more than you'd ever imagine. You don't want to miss this. Alright, let's break it down. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, isn't that just one of those modern quarters with George Washington's face on it? Yes, it is. But here's where things get interesting. While most of those 2015 D quarters are hanging out in the marketplace for around 25 cents, shocking, right? There's this rare little anomaly among them that collectors are freaking out over. In 2015, the US Mint released a series of quarters to honor national parks. Pretty cool, right? But in the middle of all that, there was a little mistake, a minting error. That error? A misstruck die that resulted in a mangled Washington quarter. Instead of a clean, crisp coin, it came out with this funky, weird look that collectors are eating up. Some say it has this ghostly image of Washington on it, kind of like if George Washington was in a horror movie. Now, this isn't your average error coin. The 2015 D Washington quarter that's fetching up to $91,000 comes with a very specific set of characteristics. It has that double die feature that makes the image appear to be, well, double. If you spot this on your quarter, you've got something special. The error makes Washington look like he's trying to wave but can't quite get his arm right. It's the kind of mistake that only happens once in a while, and trust me, collectors will pay top dollar for it. So, how do you know if your quarter's worth big bucks? You're looking for the telltale signs. Double striking on the date, the lettering, and George's face. Check the fine details carefully, and if you've got one of these beauties with that ghostly double die, congrats, you could be holding a coin worth nearly 100 grand. Can you imagine? A single quarter turning into a small fortune, all from a mistake at the mint. Now, Let me tell you a little story to make this all feel even more real. A few years ago, I found a coin in my pocket change that had this special something about it. I didn't think much of it, but it looked a little weird. Long story short, after some online digging, thank you, Internet, I found out it was a super rare 1970s minting error. I ended up selling it and making a nice chunk of change. And let me tell you, that was the moment I really got hooked on coin collecting. The thrill of finding something worth more than its face value? It's like a treasure hunt with every coin. So what's the takeaway here? If you're holding on to a 2015 D Washington quarter, don't just toss it into your jar and forget about it. Take a closer look. Inspect those details. If you find that rare double die, you could be holding on to a coin worth over $91,000. Can you believe that? Just a quarter, worth more than my entire wardrobe. And hey, if you're loving these tips on rare coins, or if you're just as obsessed with finding valuable pocket change as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss more cool stories, valuable coin tips, and all the tricks I've learned to help you spot those hidden treasures. Plus, let's face it, coins are the only thing that won't judge you for spending a few minutes inspecting them, right? So grab your magnifying glass, take a look at your change, and who knows, you could be the next big coin collector on the block. We're talking about the 2014 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar. Sounds pretty standard, right? A quarter is a quarter, or is it? Stick around, because this one could be hiding in plain sight, and its current market value is a whopping $91,000. Yes, you heard that right. $91,000. But before you grab your magnifying glass and start searching your couch cushions, let's break it down. So, here's the deal. The 2014 P Mint Mark Washington quarter is a regular-looking coin. It's got George Washington's face on the front, as expected, and on the back, you've got the classic eagle in flight. It's the kind of coin you probably toss in your pocket change jar without a second thought. I mean, who cares about a coin that's only worth 25 cents, right? But what makes this coin special isn't the design. It's a very specific error that occurred during the minting process. Some of these quarters were struck with an extremely rare flaw in the minting process, and that mistake has led to some of these quarters fetching mind-blowing prices at auction. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, great, but how do I know if I've got one of these special 2014 quarters? Well, don't worry. It's not a secret treasure map or anything. Let me walk you through it. First off, look for the coin's condition. A lot of these high-value quarters are in pristine, uncirculated condition. We're talking no scratches, no tarnishing, just shiny and beautiful. Basically, like it just came out of the mint. If your quarter looks like it's been to the moon and back, well, maybe it's not your jackpot coin. Next, the minting error is the key to unlocking this coin's potential. There's a possibility that your quarter has a double die error. That's a fancy term for when the mint's die, the tool used to stamp the design onto the coin, gets misaligned during the process. This results in a doubled image, meaning the features on the coin, like the letters or numbers, appear slightly off and appear as though they're doubling up. Now, these errors are extremely rare, and there are only a handful of 2014 P Mint Mark Washington quarters with this kind of flaw out there. So, the first thing I'd recommend is checking the lettering and the numbers on your coin for that distinct double image. It's kind of like a mini treasure hunt, right? Okay, here's a funny personal story for you. I once found a coin in my pocket that looked just like any other penny. I didn't think much of it until I looked closer and realized it was a 1943 copper penny. I almost fell out of my chair. I thought, this is it. I'm going to be rich. Well, turns out it was a good fake. Shout out to my buddy who swears he didn't know. But it did get me hooked on coin collecting. Moral of the story? Always check your coins, because sometimes they're worth more than you think. Alright, so if you find one of these double die 2014 P Mint Mark Washington quarters, don't just toss it aside thinking it's just another pocket change. That $91,000 value comes from collectors who are willing to pay big bucks for rare coins with these minting errors. You might be wondering, how much is my coin worth if it doesn't have the error? Well, it's still worth 25 cents at least, but it's the unique errors that drive up those numbers. So, just remember, condition, error, and rarity are everything to wrap things up. Folks, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt. So, If you happen to have a 2014 P Mint Mark Washington quarter hanging around, give it a second look. It might not look like much at first, but who knows? You could be holding on to a rare gem worth tens of thousands of dollars. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more tips and tricks to help you make bank with your coin collection. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next episode, because you might just have a coin worth a fortune sitting in your jar right now. Stay sharp, stay curious, and happy hunting, my fellow coin collectors. We're going to talk about one such treasure, the 2013 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. And no, this isn't a random piece of pocket change we're talking about. We're talking about a coin that could be worth up to $91,000. Yep, you heard me right. And I'm here to break down how you can spot this hidden gem and maybe, just maybe, turn your spare change into a gold mine. Let's dive in. Okay, let's start by setting the stage. The 2013 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin is just your typical quarter, right? But wait, what's so special about this one? Well, the magic lies in its rarity and condition. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a 2013 coin, just 12 years old, be worth that much? Here's where it gets interesting. Coins that are in near-perfect condition and are somewhat rare can be crazy valuable. We're talking about a quarter with a very specific set of characteristics that make it a hot item in the collector's market. So, let's break it down. The 2013 D Mint Mark Washington quarter was part of the America the Beautiful series, which is cool on its own. But here's the kicker. Not all of them are valuable. In fact, most of them are pretty standard in the coin world. But this one particular quarter, in mint condition, can fetch a staggering price. Why? Because apparently only a small batch of these made it into circulation in such great condition, and that rarity, combined with its stunning appearance, makes it highly sought after. Imagine walking into a coin shop, handing over your 2013 D quarter, and having the cashier's eyes widen like a kid in a candy store. And you're just standing there, cool as a cucumber, like, yeah, it's just a quarter. No big deal. Pay me $91,000, please. Of course, finding this treasure isn't easy. It's all about condition and rarity. If your 2013 D quarter has sharp details, clean surfaces, and no noticeable wear, you could be holding a jackpot. But even if it's not in perfect shape, you're still looking at a valuable coin. Collectors love coins that are even slightly rare or in decent condition, so there's definitely still hope if your quarter isn't sparkling like it just came from the mint. Now, let me tell you a little story. One day, I was sitting in a coffee shop when the guy at the counter told me about his grandpa's coin collection. He had inherited it and didn't think much of it. The collection was just sitting in a dusty box in the attic. Well, one day his curiosity got the best of him, and he decided to check out one of the coins on a whim. It turned out to be a rare 1955 double-die Lincoln penny, worth thousands of dollars. And it all started with just a bit of research and curiosity. So here's the thing. You don't have to be an expert to stumble upon these rare coins. I mean, my friend at the coffee shop didn't even know what he had until he took a look. All it takes is the right mindset, a little bit of knowledge, and a healthy dose of luck. Alright, here's the deal. While the 2013 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin might seem like just another coin, it could actually be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to turn your world upside down. Remember, the key is checking for mint condition and understanding the rarity of certain coins. The coin market is full of hidden gems, and all it takes is a bit of curiosity and the right strategy to cash in. If you're as hooked on coin collecting as I am, and let's be honest, it's pretty fun, then hit that subscribe button for more tips and tricks on how to spot coins that are worth serious cash. Who knows? Maybe your next pocket change is worth more than your car. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your change, folks, and happy hunting. Catch you in the next one. We're diving into the story of the 2001 P Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin that looks super ordinary at first glance, but can secretly be a treasure chest in disguise if you're a coin collector, casual change checker, or just someone who enjoys daydreaming about getting rich off loose change. Buckle up, because this quarter's got a story to tell. Alright, let's rewind to the year 2001. You remember it, the iPod had just dropped. Shrek was taking over the box office, and we were all getting way too into Flip phones. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Mint was busy churning out Washington quarters with the new state quarter reverse design, in this case North Carolina. The first flight quarter. Now here's where it gets spicy. Most of those quarters were worth exactly 25 cents, surprise surprise, but a select few came off the minting press with errors, unique quirks that make coin collectors go absolutely bananas. These are what we call mint errors. And buddy, when the right combo of error and condition comes together, we're talking some serious cash. 2001 P Washington quarter recently sold for $91,000. Yes, 91,000. That's enough to make you check every jar, drawer, and couch cushion in your house. The reason this particular coin had a striking error: it was double struck on a different planchet. That means the coin wasn't even made on a quarter blank, it was struck on something else entirely, like a foreign coin blank or the wrong metal. And guess what? That kind of mistake doesn't happen often. That's like ordering fries and getting a pizza in your bag instead. Unusual, unexpected, and totally awesome. Now let me tell you a quick story to drive this home. I was at a garage sale a few summers ago just browsing for old records and weird lamps when I saw this little bowl of coins marked "Take one for good luck." So naturally I did. I mean, who doesn't want some free luck? I pulled out a quarter, stuck it in my pocket, and forgot about it. Months later I was going through my laundry and out rolls that same quarter, but something felt off. It was lighter than usual and the rim looked funny, so I did what any overly curious and mildly obsessive person does. I googled it. Turns out it was just a worn down coin. Not a jackpot moment, but it lit a fire in me. Ever since then I check every coin that passes through my hands. No joke, I've probably spent more time looking at coins than I have watching Netflix lately. So if you find a 2001 P Washington quarter, check it out real close. Look for errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, wrong metal, weird colors, anything that screams, "Hey, I'm not normal," because those are the coins that bring in big money. And condition matters too. If you've got a coin in pristine shape, it's like finding a mint condition vintage comic book. It multiplies the value faster than a cat video goes viral. So here's the deal, folks. Your next trip to the gas station, your next load of laundry, even that coin you just got back as change from your coffee run could be worth thousands. That 2001 P Washington quarter might look like any other, but with the right error and a little luck, you could be sitting on a small fortune instead of a seat full of lint. Now, if you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, learn what to look for, and hear more personal stories that involve me awkwardly explaining to cashiers why I'm staring at my change for too long, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't just let your coins sit in a jar collecting dust. They could be collecting value. Tap that bell for updates. Smash that like if you learned something new, and drop a comment if you've ever found something weird in your change. Remember, your money might be worth way more than you think. We're diving into a regular OL quarter from the year 2000, the 2000 P Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. That could be worth a jaw-dropping $91,000. Yep, you heard me right, $91,000 for something you probably flipped to decide who's buying coffee this morning. And no, this isn't one of those internet scams promising you a gold-plated unicorn if you like and share. It's real legit, and it could be hiding in plain sight in your couch cushions. So if you've got spare change lying around, or you're the type who hoards coins like a squirrel hoards acorns, this video is for you. Let's get into it. Alright, first things first, what makes this quarter from the year 2000 so special? I mean, it's just a quarter, right? It buys you basically nothing these days, maybe a single M&M if you're lucky, but here's the kicker. This specific coin we're talking about is a 2000 Washington quarter with a P Mint mark. That P means it was minted in Philadelphia, and out of all the zillions of coins minted that year, there's one in particular that made collectors lose their minds. Why? Because it has a minting error, a very special one. Some of these 2000 P quarters were struck on experimental planchets, which are test metals that the US Mint was messing around with before finalizing the Sacagawea dollar coin. They accidentally used these golden tone planchets to strike regular quarters. Oops. Now what you end up with is a Washington quarter that's the size of a quarter but has a totally different composition and a golden hue. It looks like it came back from a tropical vacation, because it's so rare and weird, and because coin collectors love anything that screams, "I shouldn't exist." This little guy has reached prices up to $91,000 at auction. That's more than some people's student loans, and unlike student loans, this one might actually bring you joy. Now here's where it gets personal. So a couple years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her junk drawer. You know, the one full of batteries that may or may not work, a couple of rubber bands, and like 3 dozen paper clips. I see this shiny quarter. It looked a little off, a little too golden for a regular quarter. I jokingly said, "Hey Nana, maybe this one's worth $1 million." She laughed and said, "You'd better hope so, I need a new fridge." Turns out it wasn't the $91,000 quarter, but it did spark my obsession with checking every single coin I touch. I've basically become that friend who holds up the lunch line because I'm examining a penny from 1982. And listen, I get it, you're thinking, what are the chances? But here's the thing, these rare coins don't all get scooped up by collectors immediately. Some are still out there in the wild, hiding in your tip jar or jammed under your car seat. The key things to look for with the 2000 P quarter are: 1, it has a P Mint mark, meaning it came from Philly. 2, it Looks kind of gold, not silver. 3. It feels slightly different to the touch sometimes because of the metal composition. 4. And ideally it should get authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. That's the only way to really know what you're holding, and even if it's not worth 91,000, you might still be sitting on something worth a few hundred or a few $1,000. I mean, I wouldn't complain about an unexpected $1,000 bonus, would you? So here's the deal: if you're someone who thinks coins are just loose change, it's time to change your mindset. That 25-cent piece might just be the down payment on your next car, or at the very least your next iPhone. And ignore your spare change, check your quarters, especially the 2000p Mint Mark ones. And while you're at it, dig through your grandma's junk drawer, your dad's coin jar, and yes, even that old piggy bank you forgot you still had. And hey, if you found this video helpful, or you just like hearing weird stories about coins worth more than your rent, hit that subscribe button. IVE got way more coin tips coming your way, including the best coins to look for, the mistakes that make them valuable, and how to sell them the smart way. So hit that bell, turn on notifications, and don't miss out on the treasure hunt, because who says you can't find gold in your pocket? Thanks for watching, and remember folks, not all treasure is buried. Sometimes it's just chilling in your laundry room. We're diving into the wild world of the 1995 D Washington quarter and why it might just be your next big payday. So grab your coin jar, get comfy, and let's talk money. Literal money. Alright, so the 1995 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver. Pretty standard stuff, right? They made millions of these coins, over 1 billion actually. So how on earth is one worth $91,000? What did it do? Graduate summa cum laude? Well, here's the thing. Not all coins are created equal. Most 1995 D quarters are only worth 25 cents. Maybe a little more if they're in great condition. But there's always that one standout. That rare, pristine, perfect little unicorn of a coin that makes collectors foam at the mouth. What we're talking about is a 1995 D quarter in mint state condition, graded MS68 or higher. Basically, it's flawless. No scratches, no wear, not even a fingerprint smudge from your Uncle Bob. And because it's so rare to find one that perfect, collectors are willing to throw serious money at it. And I mean serious. One of these babies sold for over $91,000 at auction. That's not a joke. That's a fact that makes me want to inspect every quarter I've ever accidentally used in a vending machine. Speaking of personal regrets, let me tell you a quick story. One time, I was helping my grandma roll her change. You know, one of those bonding activities where you're mostly just watching Golden Girls reruns while sorting nickels. Well, I found a shiny 1995 D quarter. Thought nothing of it. I even remember flipping it across the room like I was in a coin toss championship. Fast forward a few years and I see an article about the $91,000 quarter. I called my grandma so fast. Like, hey, do you remember that quarter I flicked into the void of your shag carpet? Yeah. It's probably still under her couch, chilling with some lost Doritos. So what should you look for? Well, if it's got scratches, wear, or looks like it's been chewed by a raccoon, it's probably just a regular quarter. Look for sharp details, clean surfaces, and a nice luster. You'll likely need to get it graded professionally by a service like PCGS or NGC to know for sure. Keep your eyes peeled for errors too. Double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks can all bump up a coin's value, even if it's not perfect. So next time you're handed change at the grocery store or digging between your couch cushions for popcorn money, take a second and check that date. That boring old quarter might be your ticket to early retirement, or at least an epic vacation. Look, most quarters are just quarters, but some are little metal miracles worth more than your car. So keep your eyes open, your change jar close, and your coin knowledge sharp if you found this video helpful, or at least entertaining enough to stop you from scrolling for 10 minutes. Smash that subscribe button. We're talking rare coins, money-making strategies, and fun stories from folks who turn pocket change into payday. Hit the like button if you've ever thrown a coin and now deeply regret it. And drop a comment if you think you might have a 1995 D quarter worth big bucks, or just want to vent about all the coins you might have lost forever. Thanks for hanging out, and remember, always check your change. You never know when a $91,000 quarter is staring you right in the face. We're talking about a quarter, yes, a plain old 25-cent coin. That could be worth a whopping $91,000. Yeah, you heard that right. Not 91 bucks, not 910, but 91,000. For a quarter you might have used to buy gum from a vending machine in the 90s. Feel that sting. So if you've got a jar full of change just chilling in your closet or rattling around your car cup holder, don't even think about using it at a laundromat yet. Because one of those coins could be your ticket to a small fortune. Now the star of today's show is the 1990 D Washington quarter. That little D under the eagle's tail feathers means it was minted in Denver. Sounds simple enough, right? But here's the twist, the valuable ones are special error coins. We're talking misprints, off-center strikes, double dies, or sometimes even a minting mistake where parts of the design are missing or misaligned. It's like a factory oopsie that accidentally turned a quarter into a jackpot, so why would someone pay $91,000 for one of these? Well, collectors are wild about rarity. And if a coin has a mistake that makes it unique, that's like gold in the numismatic world. You mix that with a high-grade condition, I'm talking shiny, flawless, graded by the pros, and boom, it can skyrocket in value. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my cousin clean out their garage. We found this dusty old tackle box filled with random coins. He was gonna toss it. I was like, dude, you never just throw away mystery coins. That's like skipping a treasure chest because it looks rusty. Fast forward, we cleaned the coins, looked them up, and while we didn't find a 1990 D worth $91,000, we did find a silver dime from the 40s worth about $15. Not exactly retirement money, but it bought us lunch. And now every time I see a coin on the ground, I feel like Indiana Jones with bad knees. So back to the 1990 D quarter. If you think you've got one, check for the following. First, that D mint mark, look closely for errors like doubling, cracks, off-center strikes. If it looks super crisp, like it's never seen a vending machine, get it graded. And if you're wondering where this $91,000 quarter was sold, it happened at auction. Yep, someone pulled that baby out of circulation, had it authenticated, and coin collectors went bananas. Proof again that your loose change might be loose cash waiting to be found. So moral of the story? Never underestimate your spare change. That 1990 D quarter could be sitting in your junk drawer, under your car seat, or inside that sock that mysteriously vanished in the dryer. Who needs the lottery when you've got laundry? Now if you're into this kind of thing, finding value in the unexpected, flipping couch coins for cold hard cash, hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping regular videos on coins worth money, tips for spotting rare ones, and strategies for building a little side hustle out of coin collecting. You don't need to be a history nerd or a money mogul to get into this. Just a little curiosity, a sharp eye, and maybe a magnifying glass you stole from your kid's science kit. So go check your change. And hey, if you find a 1990 D quarter that makes you rich, don't forget who told you about it. Toss me a thank you coin, yeah? We're talking about a regular-looking quarter that could be worth more than your car. Yup. One of these sold for over $91,000.
No tipo.
That's 3 zeros. And yes, it's a 1983 P Washington quarter. That little P mint mark just made someone ridiculously happy. Now before you raid your piggy bank or start flipping over couch cushions, let me break down what makes this everyday coin possibly life-changing. And trust me, you're gonna want to check your pockets after this. Okay, let's rewind to 1983. Ronald Reagan was president. The final episode of MAS*H aired, and Thriller was moonwalking all over the charts. Meanwhile, the US Mint was doing its thing, pumping out coins like usual. But here's the kicker. In 1983, the Mint didn't produce any uncirculated sets for collectors. That means most of the 1983 quarters that survived went through life the hard way. You know the life I'm talking about. Vending machines. Gum stuck to the back. That one time someone tried to flatten it on train tracks. Those poor quarters were beat up. So finding a 1983 P quarter in really good condition today is like finding a clean sock in a teenager's laundry basket. Rare. Really rare. Now the 1983 P Washington quarter that sold for $91,000 wasn't just lucky. It was basically flawless. Mint state 68 to be exact. That's grading nerd talk for extremely shiny and untouched. Not a scratch on it. The kind of quarter that looks like it just clocked in at the mint this morning. Here's where it gets fun. A lot of these quarters were struck poorly. Weak details. Rough edges. So when one pops up that's crisp and clean and has a strong strike, collectors go wild. Especially when it's from a year with no official mint sets. It's like a rare Pokemon card. Except shinier and you don't have to evolve it. Let me tell you a quick personal story. A few years back, I was at a yard sale and bought a big old jar of coins for $5. You know the kind. Mostly pennies with mysterious fuzz growing inside. I took it home and spent hours sorting through it. Felt like a broke Indiana Jones. And guess what I found? A 1983 pea quarter. Now it wasn't perfect. Had a little wear. Maybe had a rough night in someone's jeans with keys and a gum wrapper. But it got me hooked. Ever since then, I always check my change. Always. You'd be surprised how many people just spend coins without even looking at them. That quarter in your change tray could be the next jackpot. All because you paid attention. I mean, look, the 1983 pea quarter is the underdog of your coin jar. It blends in but might just be worth more than your rent. So here's the bottom line. If you've got a 1983 p mint Mark Washington quarter, check it. Look at the condition. If it's shiny, sharp, and nearly perfect, you might be holding something worth thousands. Maybe even 91,000. No kidding. And hey, if yours isn't in perfect shape, don't worry. Coins are like people. Some get better with age. Some just look like they've been through a blender. Still lovable. Now, if you want to stay ahead in the coin game and learn which other everyday coins are secretly worth big money, hit that subscribe button. Like, seriously, smash it like it owes you lunch money. We've got tips, tricks, and all the juicy details on coins that could change your life or at least your bank balance. Thanks for hanging out today. Now go check your pockets. You just might be richer than you think. We're talking about the 1980 Washington quarter with the p-mint mark, and no, you don't need a metal detector or a treasure map, just a sharp eye and maybe a magnifying glass. Stick around because this coin is wild, and I've even got a personal story about almost spending one of these bad boys on a pack of gum. So let's talk about the 1980p Washington quarter minted in Philadelphia. This quarter looks pretty ordinary at first glance. George Washington on the front, eagle doing eagle things on the back. Now, most of these quarters are worth exactly what you think, 25 cents. Yup, toss it in a vending machine and move on with your debut. There are rare errors and high-grade versions that sell for a boatload. And I'm talking yacht prices here, so what makes one of these worth 91 grand? It's all about the condition and possible minting mistakes. We're talking about a mint state grade of MS67 or higher. That's basically a quarter that looks like it came out of a time capsule. No scratches, no smudges, no signs it ever touched a human hand. Also, rare errors like off-center strikes, double dies, or coins minted on the wrong planchet can boost the value faster than you can say, I need to check my piggy bank. Now let me drop a quick personal story on you. So I'm digging through my change jar one afternoon, you know, the one we all have, full of random coins, lint, and a paperclip or two. I see this shiny quarter. Something about it just looks off. It's super crisp, almost too perfect. Turns out it was a 1980p quarter. I almost used it to buy a Snickers, but the coin nerd in me said, wait a sec, let's look this up. Turns out I had something worth checking out by a professional grader. Now, sadly, mine wasn't a $91,000 jackpot, more like $15. Still, $15 from a quarter ain't bad, right? The point is, these coins are out there. You could have one in your change right now or in that jar your grandma gave you for laundry. So how do you tell if you've got the magic quarter? Step 1, grab a magnifying glass. Step 2, look for the p-mint mark under Washington's neck. Step 3, check the condition. Is it flawless? Are there any weird markings? If you're really not sure, send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGCO. And quick tip, don't clean it. Seriously, collectors want that original patina, even if it smells like 1980s pocket lint. Alright friends, to recap, the 1980p mint Mark Washington quarter could be your ticket to a new car, a trip to Bora Bora, or at least a really nice pizza party if it's in top condition or has rare mint errors. You could be sitting on up to $91,000. That's not just pocket change, that's quit your job and become a full-time coin hunter. Money. So before you toss that next quarter in the toll booth, take a second look. It might be worth way more than you think. And hey, if you like learning how to turn coins into cash, if you enjoy the thrill of the hunt and the joy of never looking at spare change the same way again, smash that subscribe button, give this video a like, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more coin tips, because you never know, next time we might talk about a penny worth more than your car. Thanks for watching and happy coin hunting. We're diving into why this seemingly ordinary quarter minted in Denver could be your ticket to early retirement, or at least a ridiculously awesome weekend. So stick around because you don't want to miss this. Alright, let's break it down. The 1979 D Washington quarter. You probably have one rolling around in your car cup holder right now, next to some gum wrappers and a rogue French fry. Most of them totally normal, worth 25 cents, maybe $1 to a collector on a good day. But then there's that one dot. We're talking about the unicorn of quarters, A coin that somehow avoided all the usual wear and tear, has a razor-sharp strike, and looks like it just came out of the vending machine of the gods. This thing recently sold for $91,000 at auction.so. What made it so special? It was in mint condition, like pristine, top of the grading scale kind of stuff. MS 68. Baby. That's mint state 68, almost perfect. There's barely a handful of those known to exist. Think of it like this. If quarters were shoes, this one's never been worn, still has the tags, and came out of a limited edition vault only known to eagles and coin nerds. Now let me tell you a quick story. A few months back, I was helping my grandma clean out her garage. You know, that magical place where nothing's been touched since the 90s. We're digging through boxes of cassette tapes and Tupperware lids with no matching bottoms, and boom. I find an old jar of coins that I'm flipping through them casually, not expecting anything crazy. And there it is. A 1979 D quarter. My heart does a little cartwheel. I'm like, could it be? Spoiler alert. It wasn't the $91,000 one. Had a big OL scratch across Washington's face, like he got in a bar fight. But still, it got me hooked. Now I check every quarter like it's a golden ticket. Here's what you want to look for. It has to have the D mint mark. Stands for Denver. Look for sharp detail. Washington's hair should be majestic, not mullet. No scratches, no smudges, no toddler teeth marks, and if it looks super shiny and new, you just might have something. If you even think your coin looks special, don't spend it on snacks. Get it graded. Costs a little, but hey, for a shot at $91K, worth it. So there you have it. The 1979 D Washington quarter. Most of them are couch cushion fillers, but a select few are straight-up treasure. And here's the deal, you'll never know unless you check. Next time you're handed change at the store, take a peek. You might just be holding the coin that changes your life. Or at least pays for a really nice vacation. Or a lot of tacos. If you like this video and you want to stay ahead of the game on coins worth money, hit that subscribe button like it owes you change. I'm dropping tips, stories, and strategy every week, so you don't miss your shot at coin collecting glory. Alright, coin crew. Go check that change, stay curious, and may your pockets be forever full of hidden treasure. We're diving into the wild world of the 1966 no mint mark Washington $quarter coin, its value, rarity, and why one just sold for a price that would make your grandma clutch her coin purse tighter than ever. Alright, so let's get into it. First things first, why is the 1966 quarter even interesting? Back in 1965, the US Mint stopped making coins with silver and started using a copper nickel blend because silver prices were climbing faster than my caffeine levels during finals week. So by 1966, quarters were made with this new clad material, and during this transitional phase mint marks were removed altogether. That's right, no mint marks at all in 1965, 1966, or 1967. So every 1966 quarter you find will have no mint mark, but not everyone is valuable. So what's the catch? Well, it's all about condition and some very special errors. Let me explain. Most 1966 quarters in your pocket change are worth well a quarter, maybe 50 cents if they're in decent shape, a dollar if they've been drinking from the fountain of youth. But there's one out there with the holy trinity of coin value, rarity, condition, and demand. One example graded by PCGS as MS68 recently sold for a jaw-dropping $91,000. That's the same price as a luxury car, a small house in the Midwest, or every snack I've ever bought at a gas station combined. Why that much? Because high-grade 1966 quarters are super hard to find. Coins from that era were mass-produced like crazy and used and abused like the remote control during football season, so finding one in pristine condition is like finding a unicorn with a money printer for a horn. And speaking of unicorns, let me tell you a quick story. So last summer, I was at a yard sale hunting for vintage records and weird teapots. Don't ask, I spotted this dusty jar labeled "Old Coins, $10." Naturally, I grabbed it faster than a squirrel with a donut, got home, poured them out on the table, and guess what was in there? Yep, a 1966 quarter. Now, it wasn't worth $91K, spoiler alert, it was more like $3. But the thrill of that find lit a fire under me. I've been obsessed with coins ever since. And here's the thing, that feeling that maybe, just maybe, you found something valuable. It's addictive and fun, and honestly sometimes hilarious when you're hunched over with a magnifying glass at 2 a.m. wondering if you finally found the Holy Grail. So what's the takeaway? Check your change, dig through your drawers, ask your grandma nicely but firmly if she has any old coins hiding in her cookie tins. The 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter could be worth a fortune if it's in top-notch shape, and even if it's not worth $91,000, it's still a piece of history you can hold in your hand. Now, if you want more coin tips, strategies, and stories that might help you strike gold, or at least silver-colored metal that pays like gold, Then do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you don't miss a single cent of info, and hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found something cool in your change. I want to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story. Maybe the next valuable one is already in your pocket. We're diving into the story of the 1965 no-mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. This little guy looks like pocket change, but it's got the power to buy you a car, a vacation, or heck, even a whole new coin collection. Alright, let's rewind the clock to 1965. It was the year the Beatles were ruling the charts. Bell-bottoms were not ironic, and the US Mint decided to shake things up. See, back in the day, quarters were made of silver, but due to rising silver prices, the government said nope, no more, and started making quarters out of a copper-nickel mix starting in 1965. The problem is not all of them made the switch cleanly. Some sneaky little guys got struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. Now, here's the twist. These rare silver 1965 quarters look almost exactly like the regular copper-nickel ones. No mint mark, no shiny clues, nada. It's like they're hiding in plain sight like a ninja with a George Washington haircut. So how can you tell if you've got the jackpot quarter in your change jar? Easy kind of. First, check the edge of the coin. A standard 1965 quarter has a two-tone edge. You'll see the copper core sandwiched between nickel like a weird coin burrito. But if your 1965 quarter has a solid silver-colored edge with no visible copper, oh baby, you might be onto something. And here's a fun fact. The record sale for one of these 1965 silver quarters was a whopping $91,000. That's not a typo. That's the price someone actually paid for a 25-cent piece. Let me tell you a quick story. I was at a garage sale a while back digging through this old lady's jar of coins because, hey, that's what normal people do on a Saturday morning, right? I hand her $1 for 4 random quarters, and when I get home, one of them was a 1965 quarter. No mint mark, edge looked kinda silvery. I thought I hit the jackpot. I was already imagining myself on a yacht eating gold-dusted tacos. Turns out it was just a shiny, regular one, but hey, the adrenaline was real, and now I check every single quarter I get like I'm Indiana Jones in a convenience store. So what's the takeaway here? Don't ignore your spare change. That little jingly mess in your car cup holder might be holding on to a small fortune, especially if you come across a 1965 no-mint mark quarter with that silver shine. And listen, even if you don't find the $91,000 coin, it's still a blast hunting through your coins. You learn a bit of history. You get to feel like a detective, and every now and then you might stumble on something really special. If you like this video and you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies on how to find them, and a few more bad jokes along the way, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, leave a comment, and let me know if you've ever found a coin that made your jaw drop.